Hello, longtime listeners and bandwagon fans. We are back with episode 20 of the Flop Sports Podcast. This is Daniel.
And this is Preston. We'll be right back after a short musical interlude.
All right, guys, thanks for sticking around for yet another musical interlude. This week, I was in Los Angeles. I was at a taping of America's
Whoa.
Funniest Home Videos.
You were in Los Angeles?
Yeah, like always. But I was a live audio member, and I heard an inside scoop on the Lakers while I was there, which we'll talk about later.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, well, let's get into the big three, and the Lakers will be coming up next. But first, we got to talk about the biggest news right now, probably Antonio Brown. Finally a member of the Browns. No, the Bills. No. The Raiders. He's finally a member of the Raiders. The Oakland Raiders trading a 3rd and 5th round pick, and also giving AB the money. He will be the highest paid wide receiver in NFL history. So, Danny, what do you think of this move for the Raiders, first of all?
Yeah, well, what a classic John Gruden move. Trades away his young star receiver for a first-round pick, and then he's like, you know what I want now? I want an older star receiver instead. But I don't think he gave up that much in draft picks, but that's a big contract to tie up a big part of the roster at a position most people don't consider vital to winning.
No, almost no one considers that part of the roster vital to winning, except maybe like the Atlanta Falcons and now the Oakland Raiders. Yeah, no, it's a crazy move, but it could pay off even bigger dividends because Le'Veon Bell is now rumored to be looking at the Oakland Raiders. So could you imagine this? You know, they go from their three core being Derek Carr, I guess like Latavius Murray and or Marshawn Lynch if you want to put him in, whoever you want to put in there at running back for them, and Amari Cooper, to Derek Carr, Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown. That's a night and day difference. They're a little older, but they could be a lot better.
But they are slowly becoming the Steelers. They should just keep trading for the whole roster.
Yeah, Gruden basically take a look at the Steelers and he's like, oh, I really want to be coach of that team, but let's just move all the players over here to the Raiders. But I think this could actually work out for him because, I mean, we've been killing him over these moves, but you see, like, I saw someone like compare like the before and after. So you had Khalil Mack, you had Amari Cooper, and you had a couple like lower 3rd, 5th round picks. And you turn that into Antonio Brown, 3 first-round picks, and a couple other picks, and maybe Le'Veon Bell, potentially some other things in free agency. So they have kind of completely changed what this roster looks like from before Gruden took over.
Yep, that's true. And from the Steelers' perspective, I kind of feel like they sold low on both Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown, basically getting nothing for Bell and a 3rd and a 5th for Antonio Brown, who statistically is the top 10 receiver all time. Not what I would have thought they would have been getting after all the trade hoopla for the past 12 months.
No, not at all. But I thought, yeah, at least they get like the Dallas Cowboys 1st round pick that they had, or you know, some kind of 1st round compensation. But clearly there was no market for Antonio Brown. It was clearly just, the Browns wanted him, but the Steelers said we're not trading him in the division. The Bills wanted him, but Antonio Brown was like, I'm not going to Buffalo. So then Oakland became the only team left, and that's all they had to give up. Do you think other teams are going to look like, man, is that all they had to give up? Like, we should have got in on that.
Yeah, right. Although I do think the big thing was Antonio Brown was like, give me the money, and I don't think very many teams wanted to do that.
Yeah, not a lot of teams are going to do that. The Raiders also making another move, Kalichi Osemele, who was a big free agent signing for them a couple of off seasons ago at guard. He's been a Pro Bowl level guard for the past couple seasons. He was traded to the New York Jets, but as you pointed out here, injuries kind of put him down, so he's not quite at the same level that he once was.
Yeah, absolutely did. But also, Derek Carr was sacked 51 times last year. Someone's got to protect the guy.
And maybe that's something that they look at in the draft, because it was only like 2-3 seasons ago when we were like, man, the Raiders have one of the best offensive lines in football, and now they've fallen off over the past couple of years. So I think this might be something that they look to try to get a little bit younger at in the draft. They still do have some good pieces on the offensive line, so we will see. But staying out in California, this is actually an all California Big Three. We go back to the Lakers, our weekly Lakers watch, if you will. So pretty much the Lakers season's over. I'll admit it. It's done.
Yeah.
They're not making the playoffs. And I think the Lakers know that too, because Lonzo Ball was announced that he will actually miss the rest of the season. Brandon Ingram will also miss the rest of the season. A little bit more on his injury in just a second. And LeBron is not going to be playing back-to-backs, and he's going to be limited in his minutes for the rest of the season. Kuzma also has been injured. I am sure like maybe Alex Caruso or Mo Wagner, they might be hurt. I don't know. So basically whoever was on the Lakers, they won't be playing the rest of the season. Danny will actually be starting at point guard for the rest of the season.
I know, I just got the call up.
Yeah. Just taking whoever they can get. But, looking at these injuries real quick, it's pretty clear that they have given up on the rest of the season.
Yup. I mean, at this point, I was looking at the standings. They're like, 7 games? 7.5 out? And they just have a better shot at trying to get a top 10 draft pick than trying to make the playoffs now.
I've heard so many people talk about it, and now with the NBA draft, with the lottery odds being so different, with them kind of being flattened. So, if they move up into the top 10, they have at least a 20% shot, I think, of getting into the top 4. So maybe it's not Zion, but maybe it's some other talented players like R.J. Barrett, his teammate, Ja Morant, Cam Reddish. So maybe someone else, but maybe more importantly than that, that's a better pick to send to potentially a New Orleans over the offseason, if it does come to that. But what do you think about kind of the news about Brandon Ingram's injury? So basically it's similar to what Chris Bosh actually had that forced him into retirement. It's not quite at that level yet, but they did find a blood clot, and if that continues, he'll be on blood thinners, and if that continues to be a problem, like that could force him into retirement because it's a very serious medical issue.
Yeah, no, that is. I mean, obviously, that's if that ends up being very serious for him, that's not great. And you saw with Chris Bosh, he was like, I'm going to play, I'm going to come back for like 4 years. And every team was like, yeah, I just don't think you should do that. No one would sign. And he was an all NBA, all-star first teamer.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully it's just something that passes, because he's actually been playing great as of late. And you would hate to see something like that derail his career, especially if you're the New Orleans Pelicans, because that's your future star right there. Looking at LeBron, besides the minutes restrictions that he's going to be on coming up, he passed MJ in points scored on, of course, the most LeBron play, him just chugging away to the basket and getting fouled and putting it in. That's pretty much as LeBron as it gets right there. What do you think this means, just for him in his legacy? And also, do you think he makes a run at Kareem?
Well, I did look at the like what he would have to do to catch up to Kareem, and it's like, what, 3 seasons at like 28 a game, but he'd have to play about 75 games a season. So I think it's possible. I think he's going to get up to like number 2 probably.
I think he's going to play more than 3 seasons, so he's going to he won't need that. I mean, Kareem played forever. Gosh. Like Kareem was like 40. I can't remember exactly how old he was, but he was old when he retired. And we've always talked like LeBron wants to play with his son someday, so maybe he sticks around till then. And you can't tell me like put LeBron out on the court and he can't get you like 20 points.
Yeah, and he is hitting that kind of cool part of his career that like Brady's been in for a while, where like Brady's still really good, but he's also accomplishing those like crazy lifetime accomplishments.
Yeah,
and LeBron's still crazy good, but every year it's gonna be like, what, he did that, and so it's a cool time to appreciate someone.
Yeah, and just put Michael Jordan in his seat. But one thing is, kind of hearing some other people talk about it, when he got that milestone, it just didn't seem like the Staples Center cared at all.
Yeah, I don't think they're
kind of showing they don't really care about LeBron.
Yep, definitely not yet. They are not committed.
But it's like, what did you expect out of this team? Like, I think what we expected preseason was fine up until that Christmas Day, because they were looking great up until then. And then injuries. Like, people talk about, like the management didn't have a backup plan for all these injuries happening. But it's like, what's the backup plan to LeBron James going out? What's the backup plan to losing Lonzo Ball?
Yep.
Like, there are no backup plans when you lose a good player. It's not football where maybe we can emphasize some other areas and make it through. No, this is basketball where one player can carry you to a championship or break your championship run. And that's exactly what happened with the Lakers. Not a championship, but getting into the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Van Gundy's been back with his take on the season and what the Lakers should be doing. And he came out and said the Lakers should trade LeBron and get this roster in shape. What do you think of that?
Van Gundy's takes are all fun and games until it's about your guy. As we all remember, the Avery Bradley, best cutter in the league.
My favorite take.
Yeah, just ridiculous, man. I don't like. He just says ridiculous things. I accept that, but how would it make sense? Like, maybe you start bringing this up if they don't get anyone this offseason, but we haven't even gotten to the offseason yet. Like, the whole plan was to get to this offseason. Like, we knew LeBron was coming. We knew he's going to be somewhat patient. That didn't fully take place this year because he wanted to push for that Anthony Davis trade. But in the offseason, maybe some things open up. Maybe some guys change their mind. Because as you know, as a Celtics fan, players change their minds quite frequently, i.e. Kyrie Irving. Just because someone feels some way today doesn't mean that's going to be the way they feel tomorrow. Like, players change their minds so many times, as Woj can attribute to. Like, these players have no idea what's going to happen a couple months from now.
Yep, and last week we talked a little bit about whose fault this entire season was and kind of threw blame around. But I'd like to let you know that the new host of America's Funniest Home Videos, Carlton Banks, Alfonso from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, believes very strongly, told this to me personally, that it is all Magic Johnson's fault for ruining the team chemistry by trying to trade for AD. So there you have it, solved.
I mean, Carlton's not far off. As usual, Carlton's not far off. All right, staying in California, going up the coast to the Bay Area, the Golden State Warriors not looking strong lately. They lost to the Phoenix Suns last night. I think it was the first time in 18 games or something like that Phoenix came and beat Golden State. So not how you want to finish the season if you're Golden State right now. Are you starting to get concerned about them as possibly, you know, going back and winning another NBA championship?
No, I'm not concerned because talent-wise, they are still the best team by far. Like, why would I be worried?
Well, Steve Kerr did say about Draymond Green, or at least people are reading it this way, that he said he is effing tired of Draymond. I do feel like Draymond's someone that can wear on you a little bit. What do you think? What do you make of that possibility?
Well, I saw the rest of that video that gets cut off, and he said, "I'm effing tired of Draymond always being so nice to me every day." So it's actually a backhanded compliment, to be honest. No, Draymond's, he's him, and I don't know, he's not having his best year statistically or even defensively. Kerr's probably a little annoyed, but he's not the glue guy on that team, so I don't think it's that big of a deal.
But does a championship team like this only win 4 games out of their last 10? They lost to the Suns. They lost by 33 points to your Celtics.
Yeah.
Lost to the Magic and lost by 22 to the Trailblazers.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when Kevin Durant's leaving your basketball team.
Well, and then you have Klay Thompson saying that the fans need more energy. It's like, guys, like, it is fully on you to win basketball games. Like, it does not matter what the fans are doing.
Plus, they've had great fans for quite a while. So
exactly, one game. How are you gonna go back at them? And this is only kind of the first, or not the first time Steve Kerr has maybe or maybe not said something that's kind of not jived well with his players. So basically, the other night he said that the Warriors need to play with more anger when they're out there on the court, and Durant strongly disagreed with that at the podium when asked about it, and said, I thought we were supposed to be playing with joy, so I disagree with that. It just feels like there's some kind of tension running through this team right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure when Kerr said anger, what he really meant is he wants the guys to, like, have a little chip on their shoulder and, like, have some edge and, like, actually care about the game. And, Durant's pretty contrarian, so he's just like, nah, man, joy. Like, that's... I
mean, you watched it. He was like, Steve Kerr said, he's like, who? It's like, your coach, man. I know you know who we're talking about. It's your coach. Dear Lord, Kevin Durant just drives me crazy sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, dude, the world is not out to get you. Get the chip off your shoulder. Another thing that's been interesting in this run is teams are really starting to attack Boogie Cousins. And, as much as Draymond Green would like to deny that, the numbers are there. Teams are going, straight at him. So here are the numbers. The Warriors, with their preferred starting lineup with Cousins, that's Steph, Klay, Kevin, Draymond, Boogie. They have a 113 defensive net rating, which would be tied with the Suns for 29th, which is funny because they lost to the Suns. But if you put Kevon Looney in at center, the defense gets 7.6 points better per 100. And if you put Andre Iguodala in there and they move Draymond to center and they play small, they get 17.6 points better. I mean, it's never been a secret. Like, they're better when they're playing small.
Yeah, but also this is no secret about DeMarcus Cousins. If you followed him throughout his career, the first number one complaint was that, he was always getting teched and he was a bit difficult in the locker room. But the second, probably more serious, is that he's not good on defense. Even the Pelicans started their big run last year when he was out, and because the defense really stepped up. So I'm not surprised by this.
No, not surprised, but they're gonna have to figure something out, because obviously this is not a key part of the team, but a big part of the team and the way they want to go moving forward. So, imagine if they play Houston in the playoffs, and I feel like he's almost unplayable in that, because Houston loves to attack those mismatches like that. And there's no way Boogie's going to guard James Harden out on the perimeter.
Yup, and we're gonna talk about that more later. But I absolutely think Houston's gonna be their biggest problem again in the playoffs.
Absolutely. All right, getting into the NFL. You talked about Antonio Brown getting that payday. Another wide receiver in the NFL trying to get that payday, Tyreek Hill. Um, so are we just going to keep like going around and around with the wide receivers now and getting big paydays? Or, I mean, do you think Tyreek Hill is worthy of that kind of payday?
Yeah, let's just go back to like 2004 and do this all over again. I'm sure it'll work out just as great as then.
Work out just fine. Like, I understand, like, players need to get paid, but at the same time, like, teams need to get built, you know? Like, and if you're spending all your money on 2 or 3 players, you're not building a team.
Yep, and there's just only one or two receivers that are worth, like AJ Green, Julio Jones, and Antonio Brown. But Tyreek Hill, he's great. I'm not giving him all like a third of my team's cap.
Exactly. That's it. That's all I'm trying to say. And like, we already got a problem with the quarterbacks. Like, don't get me started on that. Like, they're making too much money. Like, I know players they're worth this money in a way, but it just seems like it's gotten out of control again, and it always will, I guess. Speaking of the Chiefs, they released someone that made quite a bit of money, and that's their pass rusher, Justin Houston. He's now on the free agent market. Do you think he's got anything left in the tank to kind of help out another contender?
Yeah, I think so. He's 30.
Seems like a perfect Patriots player.
Yeah, I would love that. But yeah, I mean, he's 30. He's had a really incredible career. I didn't realize 78 sacks, 14 forced fumbles. Yeah, I mean, I think he's got a future somewhere on some team.
Yeah, maybe for a couple of years. Redskins making some moves, getting Case Keenum for their quarterback position. I was all in on them trading for Josh Rosen from the Cardinals, but it seems like they got their man Case.
Redskins are back.
Just as the Broncos got their man Case last year.
Redskins are back, baby. I'm excited for them this year.
I don't buy that this is going to be their only quarterback move. I feel like they got to add maybe a rookie or someone else this year. So
I agree.
I don't think this is it for them. Your Patriots looking to add Bennett to your team again.
Yeah,
but this time it's Michael.
Yeah, and this was perfect because we're losing one of our best players at this position. So Bennett's going to come in for half the price, which is just classic Belichick.
So Trey Flowers isn't coming back?
No, definitely not. We got Michael Bennett for half the price now. So Belichick's like, Flowers, you can come back for $1 million or you can get out.
But like, I don't think Bennett is that same player now that he was in Seattle. Like, he's not impacting games on that kind of level anymore.
We only need him to be that same player for 1 year.
For 1 year.
And then he's gone. So
yeah. Do y'all want Chris Long back while you're at it?
Yeah, please. The funniest part about this story is that Martellus Bennett tweeted out that maybe he'd consider coming back to play with his brother on the Patriots, which would be really funny.
If you put those Bennett brothers on the same team, like, I don't even know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Eric Weddle to the Rams. They also keep Dante Fowler, so improving that defense even more.
Yup. It's just like, how do the Rams seem to have all this cap space every offseason signing guys?
It's because the quarterback is still on a rookie contract. That's how. That is how.
It's not
if
fair.
If you got a quarterback on a rookie contract, you go out and spend as much as you can because that money's going to be gone soon.
Yep.
Cleveland making a big move to get Pro Bowl defensive end Olivier Vernon from the Browns. They traded Kevin Zeitler, who they just signed, I think, like 2 years ago. But, adding some more pass rush, you get a guy like Vernon on the other side of Myles Garrett, get some push up the middle from a couple young guys they have at defensive tackle. So, like this, I'm telling you, man, I am all on the Browns train for next year.
You're on the Browns train. You're like, this
I'm
team
on
is
the
going
Browns
8-8
train.
next year.
Yes, 8-8. 9-7. 9-7.
All right. Really quick, an interesting story from the AAF, already mired in controversy. Someone
No.
has come out. This is classic because I live in Los Angeles. This happens all the time. But someone has come out and said that they actually came up with the idea for the AAF and had a handshake agreement with the co-founder of the league. And so they've come out in this report and they're suing for a bunch of money, saying that this was all their idea. What do you think of this? Is this real? Or is this just some dude being like, I did that, or what's going on?
Well, I had the idea for Google a long time ago, so I'm still waiting for my money. But yeah, this is ridiculous. You know, we'll let the courts play it out and everything, but this is ridiculous, man. Like, do you really want to take the idea of the AAF? Is that the one you're going to be fighting for? Like, this league doesn't have that much money,
Right.
Like, you're not suing the NFL. Like, this is the AAF, who hasn't even made it through a half season yet.
Oh no, he could end up losing money by being a partner in this.
Exactly, exactly. And so I just don't understand why, like, maybe you wait and see if it plays out well. Like, don't just try to, like, ruin it right off the bat. But, I mean, they have been positive. They had that 2.1 million viewers for their debut. And then on February 16th, that game between Salt Lake and Birmingham that I'm sure everyone was watching.
Oh, so
They had about 1 million viewers. So it's doing all right still, but I don't know if it's gonna get that guy the money he thinks he's gonna get by suing them.
good. Yeah.
All right, we will be back with some more NBA storylines. Of course, there are plenty to go through. We'll be right back with those coming up.
All right, guys, we are back, and it is time for the NBA storylines of the week. First of all, I want to shout out one of Preston's favorite all-time players, Dwayne
Oh
Wade,
yeah.
the all-time leader in blocks by a guard.
And I can't remember where I heard this, but listening to some of the players he's blocked most, I think he's blocked them each like 12 times. It was Joe Johnson, and I can't remember the other guy off the top of my head, but so yeah, big props to him. Did you see what he did? I think last week or sometime with Kevin Herter of the Atlanta Hawks.
No,
So basically, Herter has been a huge Dwayne Wade fan since he was younger, and actually wears the number 3 for Dwayne Wade. And so Dwayne heard that from a friend and was like, "All right, well let's make this guy's day." And so after the game, he sought him out after the game, and like they swapped jerseys, because of that. And like you could tell, like he's usually a kind of mild mannered kind of guy, but you could see like in his eyes he was like pretty shocked and like so pumped about that. So great for him, but also great for Dwayne Wade. And kind of I love these kind of runs down the end of their careers, and like how like it's just a big honor every night, and like everyone's celebrating them. Same thing with Dirk. We talked about what Doc did with him last week, so cool stuff all around.
Yep,
but yeah,
absolutely. Kobe has come out and said that Ben Simmons has to get a jump shot or he will regret it.
I feel like he's already regretting it. It's like, this isn't the stuff you start thinking about when you're, in the NBA. This is stuff you start practicing when you're like, I don't know, in high school and coming up like that. But it's like, I don't even know if Ben Simmons would take the jump shot even if he had the jump shot. He's so hesitant of a shooter. It's like, even if he was shooting like 50% from 3, I don't think he'd shoot.
Yeah, that's true. Also, I'm loving this continued Kobe revitalization where he gives everyone advice without them asking for it.
Kobe is like, he's the personal trainer you never wanted.
So true. You posted this story here. James Dolan ejects a Knicks fan. Tell me about this.
So, I mean, this is nothing new from James Dolan, but like the circumstances are just kind of ridiculous. So, basically, the owner, Dolan, instructed security to detain a fan who told him to sell the team. That's all the fan said was sell the team. And he said to him, so you think I should sell the team? And he waved the fan over, and then said, you want to not come to any more games? And said the fan's comment was rude. And then the fan said it was an opinion, but then Dolan said, no, it's not an opinion. And you know what? Enjoy watching them on TV.
Wow. First of all, I don't think that's good enough reason to eject someone. Second of all,
that's all the reason he needs, because he owns the arena. He owns the team. He owns the television station that guy's going to go back and watch.
How insecure is this guy, though? Like,
extremely. Because, I mean, you remember the whole Charles Oakley incident.
Yep.
When he was, forced out of there. So if he's going to do this to former players who a lot of Knicks fans like, he's going to do this to any old fan who says, I don't like your hair. Like, that's how insecure this guy is. And yeah, no, James, I'm going to tell you from personally, sell the team. Please sell the team. Like, make New York great again.
Please block Preston from the game. This is absurd. I can't believe you're saying this stuff.
Oh, wow.
Next up, Adam Silver has been talking about a popular topic around the league, which is mental health in the NBA. And he came out and said that a lot of players are unhappy, that a lot of players are dealing with depression or isolation, and social media is contributing to that. And this then caused other players to comment on that. The main two that I saw were Charles Barkley and Jason Williams with very opposing point of views.
Jason Williams.
Barkley kind of came out and was like, these guys just need to get over it and be happier, and called out Kyrie for being the most unhappy person he has ever seen.
Jason, be one of the most miserable people I've ever seen. Wow.
Jason Williams came out, took the other side of the argument, and said this isn't about necessarily being happy or unhappy, but about guys dealing with a lot of the pressures on them today and figuring out how to deal with that. Do you have any just initial thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, this is all at the Sloan conference where Adam Silver was talking about this stuff, and it's really interesting to hear some other people kind of talk about these same comments and say, maybe it's like some of these younger players who, they don't have relationships, they don't have families that are like there with them. And it's all, because everyone deals with this in this age. It's not just players. I mean, they probably deal with it on a higher scale level, but social media can, kind of get under your skin for anyone. Someone says, oh, I don't like something about you, or something about what you said, and you kind of take it personally. And it's all about, trying to take it and not let it affect you. And it's hard for NBA players because you got to remember a lot of these guys, are our age, 20, 25, 26, or even younger. And so they don't really know how to deal with that. A lot of these guys are not grown adults when they get into the league, when they're dealing with all this kind of stuff. And they're dealing with this before that. I mean, this stuff starts in high school now. So I can definitely see, this being an issue, and something that I think Adam Silver's right to talk about. So, yeah. Yeah,
and not to get too off topic, but I think phones are such a big part of this, just because there's a time you didn't have a phone. You were going to have to talk to your teammates or talk to nobody. Yeah. And you could go on a whole season and really not connect with your teammates that much. And I think we're seeing some guys unhappy because they don't have just friends or emotional connections
exactly.
going on.
Exactly. I mean, when you see these guys on TV, when they're doing the little shots and them walking into the arena, what are they doing? They're on their phone.
Yep.
They got their headphones on. They're on their phone. And do you really think that's different in the locker room? No, it's probably not. They're probably on their phones in the locker room. And yeah, you're right. They're not making relationships with their teammates. Some of these guys sign 1-year deals and they're just like, all right, I'm going to get my money and then I'm going to go somewhere else next year. And everyone talks about, how, maybe NBA players are too friendly with each other these days. Not all of them. Some of them are just loners, and, they struggle to make these relationships in the NBA. And I do think that's, that takes into a big chunk of, kind of that mental health that we're talking about. But speaking of guys that maybe don't have like the best teammates or the best chemistry with their teammates, we'll go to your team, the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, and this is interesting. I started writing our Boston Celtics segment as a disaster story, and it really quickly turned into, at least short term, a redemption story for this team. Because as we know, they've really struggled recently, and they've had a ton of drama. And then they played the Warriors, blew them out by 33 points, and everyone credits a plane ride over where they were gambling and hanging out and just bonding as teammates to what
really,
yeah, that's what they
really.
Speaking of cell phones and such, that's what they credit to helping this team get back on the right track in the last couple of games.
Yeah, I had no idea when I segued that was a problem for the Celtics. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, it's been clear this whole season that they have so much star talent, but people have said they look like they're individuals out there. They don't look like a team when they're out there, and yeah, it has changed in recent games. And so, someone brought up the other day, like the San Antonio Spurs with Greg Popovich has like these team dinners, and like they're forced team dinners. You have to go to team dinner,
Yep.
And like, I think it's really super underrated in today's NBA. Like, of just getting guys in the same room, no phones, just talking to each other, connecting. Because I think it has a huge impact on court chemistry. I think it has a huge impact if they're having fun out there. And if they're not having fun, then they're not going to be playing their best.
Yep, and they said that Kyrie really took the initiative on this plane ride and getting everyone together and doing stuff. And I'm like, that's the leader I want in Kyrie. I don't want him going to the media. I just want him to make them hang out on a plane ride. That's all I need.
Yeah, that's surprising to me. I would not have picked Kyrie to do it, but I mean, I guess who else is going to do it on this team? He's like their de facto leader.
Yep.
But yeah, it's interesting. So maybe they can keep it going and kind of turn around the season, because everyone keeps saying like this Celtics team can still turn it around in the playoffs. They can still make something out of this season, and they can still be dangerous in the playoffs. It's not a team that you want to see in the playoffs. Right now, I think they're still the 5th seed. Is that right? I think they're still hanging around the 5th seed.
Yep, 5th seed.
Yep, so they would play the Pacers right now, which would be a great matchup for them, seeing as the Pacers don't have Victor Oladipo. But we will see how they progress and if they can kind of get things going. Moving down to the Rockets, you mentioned earlier that we were going to talk about them. James Harden continues making his second place MVP case behind Giannis, in my opinion. But I mean, they're in contention for a top seed now. Like, just imagine where we were at the beginning of the season and where we are now. And I don't think this is how we saw them getting better, but they have gotten better, and they have kind of hit their stride now, where they could be, a serious threat to the Warriors once again.
Yeah, they're the 3 seed right now. They actually have one of the better defenses in the league. And when Chris Paul and James Harden are both healthy, they're pretty unstoppable offensively. Chris Paul's hitting his stride lately. I'm on board with the Rockets. I think if any team has a chance to compete with the Warriors, it's the Rockets.
Well, this is the Rockets team that we saw last year.
Yeah,
this is the Rockets team that, they played good defense and they were effective down there. And that's Jeff Bezedlik coming back and kind of leading this defense for the Rockets. We talked about him coming back early on, and there were no immediate results, but I think it takes time for the defense to kind of get back to the spot where it was once before. And then James Harden is kind of taking over. Chris Paul is hitting his stride right now, like he said.
Yeah, talk about Chris Paul's offensive efficiency since he's been back. 117 when he's on the court, 106 when he's off the court. And he was out for a big part of the early season, so I think a lot of their troubles we can attribute to him just being hurt and not playing.
Yeah, that, and taking time for some of these new role players to get kind of adjusted into their roles this season, and kind of getting the defense back to where it was. And so, yeah, I definitely think this is still a scary Rockets team for anyone to play in the playoffs. especially the Warriors, seeing how they've had difficulty with it in the past. And, when the Rockets have been at full health this year, they have given the Warriors a lot of problems, if not beat them.
Yep, absolutely. Is there anything else that you want to say about the NBA before we move on to Tim Tebow?
I think we are all good on the NBA for this week. There is so much more to come, and but we'll be back after this break, and we'll talk about one Tim Tebow coming up after the break. All right, welcome back, everyone. Thanks to Britta yet again for some delicious commercial break there. We are now into the Tim Tebow update. It's a super juicy version of the Tim Tebow update. It is all juiced up. Danny, what do we have this week?
We've got all the juice this week because Jose Canseco has come out saying that he can help Tim Tebow hit 45 home runs per season, specifically saying, "Your swing sucks. Let me fix you with steroids."
That's exactly what I saw when, with the title of the story, and I was like, yeah, does Jose know, steroids are still not allowed in the game of baseball? And
yeah,
like you said, Tim Tebow is not the kind of guy that needs steroids. He's already jacked. Maybe he needs some help with his swing, but no, he's good on the steroid front. Thanks, Jose. So maybe someone helps him with his swing, but not Jose. Elon update. We get into March Madness now. Danny, how the Phoenix doing?
Man, it was an exciting March Madness to end the Elon season on immediately.
Great.
We lost 93-86 to UNC Wilmington. Let's give a quick shout out to my guy Santa Ana, coming on strong at the end of the season. 26 points in this loss. Good job, man.
Man, I don't know what we're going to do with Elon updates now that football and basketball are over.
We might have to go on to tennis or something.
Ooh, tennis has been good sometimes.
Yep.
All right, that we have no Rex of the week. We have no Instagram update. This is where we end the show with our 60-second story.
All right, I'm pulling up the timer right now, and this week we have a really good one because it's Tim Tebow and Jose Canseco. All right, and I will start the timer. Jose Canseco walks into the clubhouse, goes up to Tim Tebow and says, "Hey man, come to my my private mansion and my private baseball field and let me fix your swing."
Tim Tebow, as the naive, gullible guy he is, goes to the mansion, and when they go to the batting cage, Jose doesn't pull out a bat. He pulls out a giant needle.
Tim Tebow says, "What's that, man? Is that going to help my swing?"
He's like, "It's definitely going to make it more powerful. You might also notice a couple other side effects."
Several weeks later, Tim Tebow is breaking Barry Bonds' home run record. Jose Canseco is dubbed a genius and reaccepted in the baseball community.
Before being banned once again. All right. That is all the time we have this week for the flop. This is episode 20. 20 episodes in the book. It's a lot of episodes. That's a lot of time. But we're going to do it again next week, so stay tuned. We will be back next week with episode 21. Danny, say goodbye to the nice people.
Goodbye, nice people.